A new era is set to begin in the life of Jason Todd, one that will see him crossing paths with faces old and new. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into Red Hood issue number 51 from Sean Martinborough and Tony Atkins, shall we? So then, as the comic opens up, we're introduced to a new neighborhood in Gotham City called The Hill. This place is so chaos-ridden and so violent it only actually saw a small uptick in crime during the events of Joker War, or as the news calls it, another unnecessary event. Oh wow, this book is coming out swinging. So bold move, Cotton, let's see if it pays off. It would seem that while the Joker's gang mostly focused on downtown, aka the whiter, richer part of Gotham City, new up-and-coming gangs made major power plays for territory in their own neck of the woods. One such group follows in the grand tradition of the Warriors and has a thing for tribal masks, while their rivals decide to deck themselves out in football gear. It's during these tumultuous times of shifting power on the street that Jason Todd decides to move into the Hill. Well, actually, that's not true. It seems that he owns an apartment here, and it's implied that Jason lived here as a young man at some point before becoming Robin. Why, Jason even has a friend here waiting for him, Dana. Her sister, as we discover, is a big TV news anchor, so her and Jason know a thing or two about living in the shadow of more successful family members. Dana tells Jason about how fast the neighborhood is changing and getting gentrified, but that her and her friends have been holding out by forming a kind of neighborhood watch association, a group that was actually instrumental in helping save the Hill during the events of the Joker's attack. Geez, I wonder if this group maybe likes to get dressed up in costumes sometimes to do their thing. It's after that we're introduced to some of the Hill's other big crime figures. There's Demetrius, a club owner and the man behind the masked gangsters from before, his rival, a man named Gutta, who's attempting to squeeze Demetrius into kicking up more money in street taxes, as well as Thomas Missile, spoiled rich kid, white rapper, and fashion designer. What's his line all about? Oh, you're gonna love this. He makes Gotham-themed streetwear based on Batman villains like the Riddler and Two-Face. His newest creation, though, a pair of Killer Croc-themed shoes, don't exactly go over so well. In fact, they go over about as well as a fart in a cramped elevator. Thomas, as we discover, actively wants to be more involved with being an actual gangster and not just selling them clothes, but Demetrius wants him to stay in his lane and not attract unnecessary superhero heat. He even slaps him later on when they're alone together, showing off the high-tech weaponry that Demetrius managed to rip off from Black Mask. Dejected, Thomas decides to cut a backroom deal with Killer Croc himself. Naturally, Waylon Jones, the villain turned anti-hero and back again, wants to get paid for every shoe sold. He even wants his own custom suit too. And hey, you know what? Speaking as a man with a size 52 jacket myself, a good-looking suit in that size is very hard to come by. All these seemingly unrelated stories end up crossing when Strike, the leader of the football gang, tries to steal some files from Darius's club, only to be met by Red Hood, who, much like me the reader, thinks that it's just Dana in disguise. Both of them end up getting caught in a bombing plot put together by Gutta. Before Demetrius can even launch a counterattack, though, his house gets broken into by a very slick-looking Killer Croc and his new boss, Thomas, who has decided to dub himself the supervillain, Tommy Max. Oh sure, he looks a little silly, what with Gotham on his forehead like that, but he still doesn't look as dumb as half of modern rappers. And so that was Red Hood issue 51, everybody, the fresh start I've been waiting for Jason Todd to have for a really, really long time now. Martinborough does an excellent job setting up the Hill as a new location, and one not often glimpsed in the other Batman-centric books, I should probably say. The people are all unique and varied and have their own connections to Red Hood. In fact, this book does something I always like to see when it comes to writing the former Robins, and that is actually drawing upon stuff from the time when before they were superheroes even. Atkins also does some great design work here. I'm a sucker for a good fictional gang, and this issue had not one but two. Overall, I thought this was a real solid debut issue, and I'll be excited to see where this book goes from here, which is why I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Hey everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.